Okay, so overtime rates. So overtime rates are paid on any extra hours that you've worked. Also on public holidays, you can get paid overtime. So what that means is if you get paid time and a half, you get paid 1.5 times your normal income. So what that basically means is like, let's just say, for example, 1.5 times. Let's say normally you'd earn $8 per hour. If you're looking at time and a half, then instead of earning $8 per hour, you would go $8 plus you would earn half of the $8. So half of $8 is 4. So that means that you're going to actually earn $12 per hour instead of $8 per hour. So in order to calculate that, all you have to do is times by 1.5. That's the quickest way, and then you would get $12 because it's 1.5 times your normal rate. Now, if you were looking at, that's time and a half. If you were looking at double time, so if you're looking at double time, okay, double time would be, let's say, $8 per hour. So instead of getting $8 per hour, you would get 8 times 2. You end up with $16 per hour. So you're getting like twice as much. If it was like double time and a half, so double time and a half, instead of earning $8 per hour, you're going to get 2.5 times the 8. So times 2 would give you 16, and then 8 times a half of 8 is 4. So altogether, you would end up with $20 per hour at double time and a half. Now for double time, you just got to times by 2, but for time and a half, if you times the 8 by 2.5, you'll find you'll get the $20 straight away. Okay, so let's just go back to the question, back to here. So it's times 1.5 for time and a half, times 2 for double time, and times 2.5 on whatever your rate is. So you just times your rate times that to get for double time and a half. Okay, so calculate the total earnings if you work from 9 to 3 on a public holiday, earned $12 per hour at time and a half. Okay, so how many hours would that be? So from 9 to 3, well, 9 to 12 is 3, plus another 3 would be 6. So it's 6 hours. So, and it's going to be at time and a half. So if you get the 12 and you times by 1.5, this is one of the quickest ways. You could go 12 plus half of 12 and then times by 6, because that's how much you earn per hour. 12 times 1.5 times the 6, you'll end up with $108. So the only difference when you're doing this to what you were doing the other day with just the hourly rate is that normally you'd just go like 12 times 6. But the difference with this, so you go 12 times 6, the difference is you then have to times by the 1.5 and you'll get the $108. Okay, so let's look at a second example. You could copy this down if you want. Calculate the total earnings for a week where he makes $18 per hour and works for 5 hours. I'll just put 4. Works for 5 hours at normal time. 3 hours. So 5 hours at normal time. 3 hours at time and a half. And then we've got 2 hours at double time. So what would the total earnings there be? So you got 5 hours times the 18. That's just at normal time. So 5 times 18 is $90. And then you go for 3 hours at time and a half. So 3 times the 18. And the difference here is you then have to times by 1.5 because you get time and a half. You could calculate it separately. You know, you could, instead of doing $18, you could do a half of 18, which is 9, and 18 plus 9, you actually get $27 per hour. But the quickest way is just to times by 1.5. So that's $81. And then finally, let's just look at the last part. You could go 2 hours times the 18, but then we're going to do that at double time. So you times 2, because it says it's at double time. So 2 times 18 times 2, you end up with $72. Okay, so that means that all together you get 90, 81, and 72. So you add that up. 90 plus 81 plus 72 plus 81 plus 90 equals $243. It's $243. Okay, so let's just look at this last part here. Put that out. Okay, so let's look at a third example. So Chloe earns $22 per hour. All right, so she's got $22 every hour. She works for 38 hours, and she'll end up getting time and a half for any extra hours she works. Now, she's going to work for 41 hours. So the question is, like, she's going to get, just for the 38 hours, she's going to get $22. That's her normal rate of pay, and that's the number of hours. So we'll calculate that in a minute. Time and a half. Now, because she's worked 41 hours, if you go 41 minus 38, you end up with 3. That means she's done 3 hours at time and a half. So it's 3 hours times the 22 times time and a half. Okay, so that means the normal rate, when you multiply that out, you end up with 836. And then if you did 3 times 22 times 1.5, you end up with 99. So that means that the total of the 836 and the 99 plus 836, you end up with $935 as your total earnings.